Hey, good morning, guys. Derek from Bomb Socks here with more Bomb Bites, where we feast upon the words of Christ, and we always do it one bite at a time. So today I want to focus just concluding this week of Come Follow Me in the Joseph Smith history. Yesterday we talked about Doctrine and Covenants section 2 and that connection of the fathers to the children. So during this time period, again, Moroni really wanted to make sure that Joseph was ready, which a true friend will make sure they do that. He wanted Joseph to be ready to get these plates. And because it took him 4 years to be able to get these 4 different visits to the hill Cumorah to be able to get these plates. The first time he goes in and he sees like, hey, gold, boom, he gets shocked and is not able to get them. And subsequently, Moroni, on another visit, he says, look, I want you to bring someone else with you. And that person is your older brother, Alvin. So Alvin, and again, I want to talk about Alvin for just a second. Alvin was a hero to Joseph. Alvin was such a help to the family. Alvin was 26 years old. And you can learn a lot about Alvin in Saints as you're going in. Again, I mentioned that last time. Great chapters for this week is chapters 3 and 4 to help you understand the context of what's going on right now. But a couple months after this visit where where Moroni told Joseph to bring Alvin, Alvin got very sick. Alvin's, most people think it was probably an appendix rupturing is what had happened. And they went to a doctor, and the doctor gave him a very chalky, I think it was chamomile is what he gave him, and that lodged into his stomach. And Alvin knew he was going to die, and he calls Joseph in. One of his last words to Joseph was, do everything that you can to be able to obtain the record. You've got to do that, Joseph. And then Alvin passed away. The death of Alvin was such a blow to the family. And Joseph especially, I mean, he loved Alvin. Alvin was his hero, but he's also just like, what am I going to do? Because I can't bring Alvin with me. Moroni said to bring Alvin, and now I can't bring him. So he goes there, and and Joseph is ready to get the plates at this point. So Joseph gets the plates, and as he looks down, he sees other objects, which are gold as well. He'll see the liahona, he'll see other things, a breastplate. And what he does is he sets the plates down, and then he goes to look at these things, and all of a sudden he turns around and the plates are gone. And then he's just like, why am I not able to get these things? And here's Moroni saying, Joseph, you're not ready yet. You cannot have this mind that you're going to sell these things or whatever it is. Your mind has got to be very single to the glory of God. And so Joseph repented of that. And Moroni said, I want you to come back 1 year from today, which again had to be such a frustration for Joseph. But Joseph needed to be ready for this. And Moroni says to him, he says, I want you to bring someone else with you. And Joseph's like, who should I bring with me? And Moroni's response was simply, you'll know. Now, let me show you the individual that Joseph gets a chance to bring to get the plates.
There are all kinds of fish in the sea, Emma. You're not getting any younger. Mother, even if I were trying to catch a husband, I would never fish in shallow waters.
I love that. Right there. Now, Emma's dad did not really care for Joseph during this time period. Emma was a very educated woman. She was very proper, very beautiful, one of the most beautiful women in the area. And they did not like the fact that she was attached to Joseph and had this connection to him. In fact, there's an interesting thing that she says later on. She says, I was married at South Bainbridge, New York, at the house of Squire Zachariah Tarbell by him in my 22nd or 23rd year, January 18th, 1827, during this time period where, again, Joseph still needs to go get the plates. My certificate of marriage was lost many years ago in one of the marches that we were forced to make. I was visiting at Mr. Stoll's, who lived in Bainbridge, and saw your father there. And so he's talking to his children. So she's talking to her children here. And I had no intention of marrying when I left home, but during my visit at Mr. Stoll's, your father visited me there. My folks were bitterly opposed to him, and being importuned by your father, cited by Mr. Stoll, who urged me to marry him, and preferring to marry him than any other man I knew, I consented. I think that's kind of cool. It's like, than any other man, I want to marry Joseph Smith. Her parents did not like that idea because they were hoping that Emma would be able to marry into one of the very well-to-do, educated families in the area. And here she's marrying this uneducated farm boy. This was something that particularly Emma's father did not care for. Isaac Hale. Isaac Hale was a good man, but he did not care for Joseph Smith. Well, let me take you to some verses here that'll show you what happened here. This is verses 58 through 60. And I'm just going to roll through these with you. So verse 58 just talks basically similar to what Emma had mentioned, how her family didn't like Joseph, and so they went and basically eloped, got married by Squire Tarbell there in South Bainbridge County in New York. And then verse 59, at length the time arrived for obtaining the plates, the Urim and Thummim and the breastplate. On the 22nd day of September, 1827, having gone as usual at the end of another year to the place where they were deposited, that same heavenly messenger delivered them up to me with this charge, that I should be responsible for them, that if I should let them go carelessly or through any neglect of mine, I should be cut off. That's how important the Book of Mormon is. But that I would use all of my endeavors to preserve them until he, the messenger, should call for them and they should be protected. And in verse 60, I soon found that the reason why I had received such strict charges to keep them safe, and why it was that the messenger had said that when I had done what was required of my hand, he would call for them. For no sooner was it known that I had them, that the most strenuous exertions were used to get them from me. Every stratagem that could be invented was resorted to for that purpose. That's crazy. The persecution became more bitter and severe than before, and multitudes were on the alert continually to get them from me if possible. There's some great stories. I'll show you one here in a moment. But by the wisdom of God, they remained safe in my hands until I had accomplished by them what was required at my hand. When, according to the arrangements, the messenger called for them, I delivered them up to him, and he has them in his charge until this day, being the 2nd day of May, 1838. And again, if you were to go into Saints, it talks about how Joseph, as he's running, he's basically carrying these things like a running back. Keeping in mind, these things are like 60 pounds. That shows you how manly Joseph was, and the help of angels as well. I can only imagine angels knocking people off as they're doing that. Joseph dislocated one of his thumbs. And so it's interesting to be able to, as he gets back and he's just like, oh, my thumb hurts. Dad, help me put my thumb back into joint. And again, that's one of the last stories there in chapter 4 of Saints. So just to kind of finish up today, I want to share with you along the lines of this story here. Lucy Mack Smith wrote some details down here about what Moroni had said. No doubt, of course, from Joseph in a little bit greater detail. Here is what Moroni said. Now, you have to get the record into your own hands, and you are but a man. Therefore, you will have to be watchful and faithful to your trust, or you will be overpowered by wicked men, for they will lay every plan and scheme that is possible to get them away from you. I can only imagine what Moroni went through in that similar process. I wonder how many times he tucked those things in like a running back, maybe broke a thumb as well. And if you do not take heed continually, they will succeed. While they were in my hands, this is Moroni speaking, I could keep them, and no man had power to take them away. But now I give them up to you. Beware and look well to your ways, and you shall have power to retain them until the time for them to be translated. And so that just shows you the importance of the Book of Mormon. Again, people wanted to get these things for gold and for gain. And yet you and I, as we went through this last year of reading the Book of Mormon, understand the true value of the Book of Mormon and why it had to be protected so much by Joseph, and why Moroni spent 4 years preparing Joseph for this every year to make sure Joseph was ready for this. Moroni was like, look, I protected these things for 36 years. You've got to protect them. So I love the trust that Moroni gives to him and the preparation it gives to Joseph. That's what true friends will do. Anyway, it's been a great week. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and thanks for sharing. Hopefully this helps you out this week. Next week, we're going to get into more about how important this record is for us. Anyway, you guys are great. Godspeed, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.